This is 2024. Trump is not president yet. Okay. This guy is not the director of counterterrorism yet. That was before he had the job, and he was saying, this is how I see it going if we were to go to war with Iran. He said at first, he's like, I think we'd take out the air defenses. I think we'd make like big hits. It'd be like, people would be like, yeah, we're doing it. And that, passes. That happened. But then you take out the Ayatollah. It doesn't matter. It's not going to fall. Like, they're not going to fall. He makes the point. The only way to say, well, we got to change the regime is you got to go in. You got to go in. And the problem is drop a bunch of bombs and maybe blow up a school and maybe blow up all the fuel reserves for the whole damn country. Suddenly people rally around the leader. They go, hey, that guy was a jerk. He's dead now. But screw these guys. I think they can just fly in and bomb us. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me, as always...
What's up, planet Earth? I'm Bean.
Bean. Frankie and the Bean. So, living in a weird... Oh, no. I did something.
It's okay.
Living in a weird timeline. I guess we'll get to the weirdest part of the timeline later. Maybe the after little clip, but our Loaded Grok section. But we had the director, so what everyone's talking about right now, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center resigned. And he didn't just resign like most of the Trump people resign. He wrote a letter that was very different. It was a very unique letter. I'm sure everybody has seen it by now, but we'll just read it real quick anyway. President Trump, after much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic that the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we are doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. You hold the cards. It was an honor to serve in your administration and to serve our great nation. Signed, Joseph Kent. So, not a nobody, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. That is, that was his resignation letter that he published publicly. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
It's well written. I mean, it got to the point and made very good points. And yes.
And yes. I guess I'll wait for that question until I mean, Okay, so basically, he's saying this feels like you've had pressure from Israel and from American folks who kind of lobby for what Israel wants. Hello, APAC. And like they surrounded you with an echo chamber and provided you information that is not so. In this, he says that, let's see. How did he say it? Let's see. Early in the thing, the wholly undermined first platform. The echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing Iran posed an imminent threat. Now, that is one place. So let's talk about this war, right? So we go into it. I think, and I don't know for sure, but, I've wondered for a while, like, we did Venezuela, and, granted that also, like, serves to, like, lock down a little bit of our hemisphere, it's like they were a landing zone for Iran and China and people, anybody that didn't like us, they had a safe place to land in Venezuela to get pretty close, and they could drive up through our open borders or get to us by sea pretty easily. It was, it was a challenge to have that big landmass that available to the people who are our enemies. So on the one hand, we go, okay, you shore that up. But big supplier of oil to China. And China's been sucking up all the natural resources, making all these alliances for oil. And like Trump's been going after natural resources, especially the precious metals, or what have you for the chips. And so like Trump's been focusing on acquiring minerals, and he's been focusing on taking Greenland and all that, which is also minerals. And so he's making mineral deals. He's making tech deals about chips. He's cutting off oil now out of Venezuela. All those things negatively affect China. So Iran, they took out the nukes last time. Like, there you go. No more nukes. We took out their ability to make missiles and their ability to make nuclear missiles. We did it. And then we stopped. Yeah, all right. Going back in, I feel like, they have to justify it by saying they're an imminent threat. I don't think anybody believes that. I don't think one person in the government said that they're an imminent threat. I think they have to say that because they bombed them. And what are you going to say? So they're like, they're a threat, But I think it wasn't like I don't think he got shown information that they, like this time, they really have the bomb, I think it was like, all right, they're weak. They're so weak right now. Why don't we take out all their military, take out the last places that they make missiles, and, take out the Ayatollah, and they'll be so weak, they'll crumble. Maybe he was told that. It feels like he was told that. It's not the case, but it feels like that's what he was told. And take out Ayatollah, maybe take out a further oil connection to China. And so you go, okay. And then also people are happy in the Middle East, yada, yada. Iran's not messing with everybody, so it's a win-win all around, quick in and out. So I feel like that was more of the pitch. I could be right. Still, that would be deception, but I don't think it was they're about to have a nuke, but for realsies this time. Especially with the fatwa, like we've talked about. Like we had, like when our Middle East expert, old Salty Jimmy, was here, and he was talking about how the Ayatollah had a fatwa against making nuclear weapons, and for the longest time he kept everything at 60% enriched because it would only take 2 weeks to convert that into weapons grade material. And that was kind of the barking dog. He'd be like, I'll do it. I don't want to, but I'll do it. And so that was how he got his concessions. That's how he kept Israel and America from attacking him, because he said, well, I'll just make a nuke. And so now that we've attacked, you sure hope that whoever ends up being in charge, but like the IRGC, get the more military arm involved, maybe they go, hey, clearly that threat's not enough to keep them out. We need to have nukes, you know? And we could do all this enrichment stuff, but it's like we can also slide over and buy some off of Russia, and Russia will just say, we didn't sell them. We didn't sell them. I don't know. Unless Russia's like, I don't want those crazy Iranians to have nukes, which is possible. But Pakistan, you know, there's somebody you probably get something slid off of. Okay. So what happened after this letter? Of course, round up the troops, you know, like, you got to discredit this guy. And so everyone was like, well, he was a Bernie Sanders voter. And you go, okay. And like, I thought people were proud of like the Trump coalition bringing lots of people together. But then you look it up, he twice ran for Congress in the state of Washington as a Republican. And maybe before that he voted Bernie. I don't know. You know? I don't know. And they go, well, he was clearly the leaker and he was about to be fired. You go, well, yeah, I mean, it says you. And they always couch it. He was allegedly, you know, it was widely speculated. He was the source of many leaks. So, widely speculated. Okay, cool. So just, he may or may not. You're saying he may or may not have been the leaker, a leaker. So you go, okay. It's like, and clearly he's a traitor. And you go, okay, like, because he's a leaker, he's a traitor, you know? And you go, yeah, I just don't think that this guy who, you know, fought throughout the entire quote-unquote war on terror against Iranian proxies and all that, like, I don't think he suddenly was just like, I love Iran and I hate Israel so much, you know? Because that's the other thing, anti-Semitic. He's just a Jew hater. And you go, I guess. And then the best, though, is people go, man, he really changed what he believed in. It's about face. In fact, here, do you want to jump in with anything before I go to
I was just saying he saw combat 11 times. The guy's a patriot. Like, nobody goes back that many times.
Yeah, and his wife was a cryptologist or something like that. She was a computer Navy chick, and she got blown up in Syria by a suicide bomber.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
I thought working on computers would keep you away from all that.
Apparently not.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Anyway, don't look under your seat. But, and then, like, so, you know, a lot of the voices are popping out. Obviously, the people who are more critical of Israel are like, hey, what a hero. You know, I think it takes balls to do this. And then there's people, like you would expect, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, the people who love Israel, and Israel can do no wrong. These cats, of course, jumping all over them. The administration jumping all over them. And a lot of people are saying, you know, just saying like, oh, he's clearly, I don't know what, in the pocket of Qatar, or just a Jew hater, or just a crazy person. So I want to we're going to play a clip from the Glenn Beck show, right? I find that out of the sort of right-wing media environment, that Glenn Beck is the least likely to go off too just willy-nilly half-cocked for, I don't know, he tends to be kind of consistent in, like, wanting limited government and, you know, not liking violating the Constitution and not getting involved in foreign wars and stuff like that, right? So even when we started this round of bombing Iran, you know, we're kind of joking. Everyone's joking about, like, why are we even there, you know? And so even he was saying, like, he's like, just don't give me the 2 weeks to a nuclear bomb thing. He's like, I've just been hearing that, like, for 20 years, 30, or however many years, you know. He's like, tell me anything but that, you know? And so to that degree, he tends to be level-headed enough. But it does seem like him and his people have a real blind spot, and I think an unintentional blind spot perhaps, but when it comes to Israel, and I will say that if you Google him stuff, I guess at one point he did win an award that was given by Bibi Netanyahu called the Defender of Israel Award. So, he's a very religious man who thinks of contemporary Israel and biblical Israel as kind of the same thing to a degree. And so, like, he is very in that kind of world, Let's see. Let me make it big. He doesn't look so much like Colonel Sanders anymore.
Well, first of all,
so this is I've skipped past the introduction. This is Jason Buttrill, his chief researcher and military guy. I guess he's former military and researches stuff and whatever. So he just asked him, like, what's his thoughts on Joe Kent and this whole thing.
really annoys me that some people are trying to just shut down all conversations on Joe Kent because they refer back to his veteran status and what he has done in the past.
And he's done great stuff.
Which he's done great stuff.
Yeah.
And
again, hold two thoughts in your head at the same time. You can do it. It's called chewing gum and walking. You can do two things at once.
And let's just remember that.
We can?
I think that part is important to remember, that's the point he's trying to make there.
Can be a great military hero and something that you got to go, wait a minute, what is happening here?
right. Because otherwise, I am also a veteran. I also served in a foreign war in Afghanistan. I can break every single FCC rule that's out there right now. I'm going to start right now.
No, let's not.
Wait.
Let's not.
Oh,
No.
I thought that I was absolved.
No, you don't absolve. You don't get absolved because you are
necessarily
a veteran.
That was my one shot. I was just going to go for it.
No, really bad idea.
But so that, for one, irks me. But for two, his shift in ideology is something that I cannot explain. I don't think anyone can explain right now. You can't go from having the mindset that you had.
Just no one can explain it. He doesn't know anybody that can explain the drastic shift in mindset. Okay.
Just a few years ago, probably just a few months ago. I don't know when this shift happened, but you can't go from knowing that Iran is the global state sponsor of terror, the number one, which he has said in the past. Mm-hmm. You can't go from saying, look, we have to support Israel in this fight against Iran because they are so bad with their proxies. Everything has destabilized the entire region, and they threaten us. You believe that. You say that Donald Trump, during his first term, should have gone farther, and these are the things he lists off. Attacking nuclear sites, attacking their ability to project power outside the country, attacking proxies. You have to do that. Almost not a...
Okay. So real quick, he goes, how can you have this position? We'll just take his word for it that was his position previously. I think it was like in a tweet or something. But it's like, okay, Iran is the largest sponsor of terror on the planet. It's like, okay, sounds good. You can believe that and chew bubblegum and walk at the same time and believe that doesn't mean we should invade them. Okay. You can go, just because they sponsor a terror group here, terror group there, doesn't mean they're an imminent threat to the United States of America, broadly speaking. You can hold both of those thoughts. Last time, Trump should have done more. We should have taken out their nuclear capabilities. It's like, well, we did that, and he didn't quit after that 12-day war. He didn't resign after that. And we took out some other capabilities, other military capabilities during that. He didn't resign after that. Now, he mentions, up until June, you weren't getting involved. But I think that at this point, when we're back in Iran, the 12-day war is no longer a 12-day war. We did a pass, and then, months later, we go back and we're doing it again. It was just sort of an initial hidey ho, and we're back. So I think it makes it. I think, he talked about the dangers in his letter of getting stuck into a long war, and he complimented Trump killing Soleimani without going, like, he hit him and left. And so, like, it seems like Kent's view is some strikes like that. You strike something, you move on. Okay, fine. That seems to be his kind of position. Don't get bogged down in forever war, in the Middle East especially. And so to think, you got to take out the proxies or whatever. There's been Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas getting killed a whole lot, and he didn't quit because of that. I mean, there's been a whole lot of the triple Hitches being killed, and he's not citing that in his resignation letter. He's saying we got pressured into going to like a real war with Iran by Israel and the allies within the U.S. government of Israel, and it's going to be bad, and I just can't sit here and support it. You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, basically the fact that he's the director of a counterterrorism center, he's about countering terrorism, not going to war. It's not the National Go to War Center. It's the National Counterterrorism Center. So
not the Department of War.
So his quick trips, get in and get out, is exactly what he's hired to do.
Yeah, and this is a man who fought against Iranian proxies, and so I don't, I think this is called missing the point. Let's see what else I gotta say.
Direct quote, but pretty much around what he was saying was, you need to address those things. I wish he would have, but he didn't. But I trust the president has a plan. Everything he was describing a few years ago is exactly what the war is looking like today.
So let me ask you.
False. If you want to talk about that first strike. Now, if you want to say flying in, taking out the Navy, taking out their Air Force, communications, but we haven't stopped. That's the thing. I'm sure if we did that, and we're like, okay, see you later, even dropping one on the Ayatollah, I don't think it's the best thing to do. Just to drop all the bombs and leave and go, well, whoever takes control, just don't buy a nuke. But I think, it seems like maybe if we would have done something limited, but we're still going. We're still there. And we're talking about boots on the ground. We're talking about, guarding the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking about, having U.S. interests, U.S. military personnel, guarding the Strait of Hormuz. Like that. I mean, you got Iran. You got don't you have the Houthis on the other side? Is it Yemen on the other side? Anyway, but I said the other strait. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's a precarious place to be, and so by having American ships nearby, I mean, you're putting them in danger. Surely we'll have the better firepower, but I don't know. It doesn't mean we won't lose anybody. And so if you're talking about guarding the Strait of Hormuz, that'll be crazy. If you're talking about limited boots on the ground, of course, it always starts limited. That's a whole different can of worms. All right, let's see what Beck's got to say.
As we look for an answer on what happened, the guy is crazy, the guy's anti-Semitic, blah, blah, blah. There might be a really simple answer to this. 2028.
Okay. So he goes, we don't have to keep going with this. So he goes, the answer might be this dude wants to be president. And so, if he, he's dropping out now, and he's going to have some cred with the anti-war side of the MAGA movement, the people that were, that part of MAGA that's kind of splitting. He goes on to say that, he's saying he doesn't like the policy, but he likes Donald Trump. He kind of wants to be supported, have him be like, oh yeah, no, he's a good guy, He goes, but how can you if Donald Trump sets the policy, shouldn't you be mad at him for setting the policy? and that this whole thing just might be a way to try and capture part of the fractured MAGA movement for a political run. And there could be something to it. Keep an eye out. It doesn't strike me as that, and it doesn't strike me. Did any part of that letter feel to you like he was blaming the Jews?
No.
Because that's the other thing. That's he kind of at some point he makes that kind of guy. It's the Jews. If you're going to say the Jews did it, and it's like, well, he didn't say the Jews. He said Israel and their lobbying and influence network. And I mean, AIPAC is very influential. They have lots of goy support, like, Mike Huckabee, Lindsey Graham, a lot of them, Nikki Haley. There's just a lot of like neocon, WASP support of Israel. And, maybe it's AIPAC sacks cash. Maybe it's not. Maybe they just believe it. Maybe it's a biblical thing, kind of like what Beck's got going on. Maybe it's a combo to a sack of cash never hurts. I don't know if you know that. if you ever want anything and you're getting your way, if you drop a sack of cash too, it won't hurt. People go, I was going to say yes, but a briefcase of cash is a hell yes. So anyway, he was saying there's been an influence network. And Beck also goes like, well, thinking that Trump got tricked is silly. Like, Trump's a smart guy. Like, he talks to everybody. He wouldn't just get duped into it. And that's why I think that, I think he did have a strategic goal in mind that was, I think this is more of a part of the long-term war on China. We think he's trying to chop the legs out from under China right now. And taking pieces off the board one at a time, easiest to hardest, maybe. Venezuela was quick. Maybe he thought, he could, and maybe there was intelligence from outside, because our intelligence didn't say it. Maybe there's intelligence from outside that said, yeah, like, you destabilize this. Look at all those protests in the street. You destabilize this by taking out Ayatollah. That's all it's going to take. That's all it's going to take, So maybe he was provided that sort of intelligence. Funny enough, people are also discrediting Joe Kent because Tucker Carlson asked him on the show. He said yes. I think Candace Owens invited him, and he said yes. But the interesting one, Mark Levin invited him, and he said yes. I want to see that because I'm pretty sure I saw a clip where he mentioned Levin by name as part of the influence circle. He said that that they take intelligence. They go, hey, this isn't yet in the intelligence database or whatever. It's not official intelligence yet, but I'm just going to show it to you because it's going to be there soon. And it's whatever the hell they want it to be. Sometimes it's real and sometimes it's not. Because they go, it's not technically intelligence, but it's going to be. And so apparently they do that kind of thing, but they'll also launder information through Fox News. And so then you get the Fox News talking heads being like, well, this is what we need to do. And it just happens to be what's good for Israel. But they launder it through politicians. They launder it through Fox News. And, Trump loves some Fox News. He keeps hiring people from Fox News. Well, there's some odd-looking people that have tried to get into the cable news world. Not Pete Hegseth, for all of his flaws. That's a good-looking fella right there. All right. So, let me see. All right. So this is on, as far as how can he have changed so much in his beliefs, okay? So this is not from the new Tucker Carlson interview. This is 2024. Trump is not president yet, okay? This guy is not the director of counterterrorism yet, but he's on Tucker's show, and Tucker is interviewing him. And they've got, look at all that hair they got. Look at all that hair. I want some hair.
Let me just ask you one last question, because he called it 60 years ago. You referred to what a war with Iran would do to the United States, and I don't know that a lot of people in this country fully understand what Iran is as a nation state. It's not Afghanistan. What do you think the immediate and then longer term effects of a war with Iran would be on the United States?
Immediately, it would be very bloody. I have no doubt that we could probably defeat some of their air defense and go in there and have another shock and awe campaign. But again, like we saw how the shock and awe campaign in Iraq really didn't actually work in the long run. So I have no doubt that we'd have some immediate results that people would cheer about here in the United States.
Correct.
But Iran, Persia, has always been an empire. It's been around longer than any of the other players in the modern Middle East right now, and they are not going anywhere. And right now, Iran has a lot of internal problem. They have a lot of internal strife with the Ayatollah and that government that's only been in power since 1979. But again, if we start conducting strikes in Iran, everyone in Iran will rally around their leader, and they will become even more revolutionary. And then we will have Iranian proxies throughout the entire region that will be conducting attacks just like we had in Jordan. And really, in the long term, Tucker, the axis that has been built really since Putin invaded Russia, and we decided that since Putin invaded Ukraine, and we decided we were going to throw this massive sanctions package at them, China has come in as a major player, and we are deeply compromised by China. They control a lot of our economy. They control global manufacturing. They're deeply embedded in Wall Street, and they've also made deals with the Iranians. They want access to Iranian petro, not to mention the fact that Biden killed off U.S. energy independence, and now he's going after LNG, and the world's biggest LNG exporters are Iran, Russia, and Qatar. So this axis would become very powerful.
That's very interesting
if
for
we get
later.
deeply involved and deeply entangled with Iran, we are playing right into China's hands, because China would like nothing more than for us to be committing our military industrial base to a war in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, and then to be committing our conventional military power, our blood and our treasure, back in the Middle East. That will make the Pacific, our actual border, extremely vulnerable to Chinese aggression. Or China will simply just watch us bleed out economically as
Taiwan.
we bleed out on the battlefield on these couple different theaters. It's absolute insanity. It's opening up Pandora's box. And again, for what gain to the American people?
I mean, I think that's the most reasonable, common sense.
All right. So that was before he had the job, and he was saying, "This is how I see it going. If we were to go to war with Iran," he said at first, he's like, "I think we'd take out the air defenses. I think we'd make like big hits. It'd be like people would be like, yeah, we're doing it," and that that happened, and he's like, but then. You take out the Ayatollah, it doesn't matter. It's not going to fall. Like, they're not going to fall. And, like, there's the interesting thing about Iran, too, is, like, the Ayatollah and all the, the religious part, they control a whole lot. But the IRGC, like, they are actually part of, like, the entire economy. Nick Carlson, he started up a new thing. Like, he's not Business Insider anymore. He started up this thing where, like, looking at everything through sort of a business perspective. And one of his guys had this thing on the IRGC, and apparently they're part of, like, public utilities. They're part of, which is why, like, the fuel thing, they go, some of it's for the military, because they're part of the entire economy. The entire economy. They're basically the mob. They're a protection racket, kind of like a government would be. Except exactly like it.
I was hoping you'd go this route.
But so, like, that's the other so, that side also is not going to just collapse, because whoever is going to lead the country needs their support, because they run everything. And it's just not going to, if they're the bureaucracy, if they're the ever-living bureaucracy, they're not just going to fall. The bureaucracy will go on unless there's a system change, and that's a lot harder than killing a religious guy, no matter how nice his beard is. But anyways, and so he makes the point. It's just like, at some point, you go, well, that wasn't enough. The only way to say, well, we got to change the regime is you got to go in. You got to go in. And the problem is, like, I told everyone I hate them, but you drop a bunch of bombs and maybe blow up a school and maybe blow up all the fuel reserves for the whole damn country. And suddenly people rally around the leader. They go, hey, that guy was a jerk. He's dead now. Hopefully the next guy's better. But screw these guys. I think they can just fly in and bomb us. And so people walk in and they go, well, we're not going to protest, actually. We're not going to protest an overthrow. We're going to kind of wave our Iranian flags. And maybe death to America does sound nice. So, I mean, he's not wrong. You know, like, I don't know that I've noticed any reports. You'd think they'd be putting reports of Iranian protests all over the place if they were happening. You know, like, welcome America, overthrow these bastards. They're probably afraid to leave because of the bombs. All right. So it seems that he's been fairly consistent on Iran. And the only way that you can say otherwise is if you fail to see the difference in his view on getting into a long-term war in the Middle East and dropping some bombs in strategic ways and calling it a day, you know, even engaging the proxies. Like, we engage the Houthis, we engage, Hamas, there's not a whole lot of them, and Israel kind of does that engaging with our assistance. But, with the triple hitch, we engage with, you know. So, whatever. So, the other thing, people go, he wasn't even in the meetings. He wasn't even in the meetings. We weren't even inviting him in the meetings anymore. Because he was the leak, and he wasn't even invited. So, we go, well, who's his boss anyway? Well, it's Tulsi. Tulsi, the DNI. So here's a guy that hopefully gets voted out of office, John Ossoff, questioning Tulsi about Iran. And, let's just give her a little listen, Lou.
Under the law, you are responsible for providing national intelligence to the president, correct?
Yes.
And to the heads of executive branch departments and agencies, yes?
Yes.
And to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and senior military commanders?
Across the IC, yes.
And to the Senate and the House and relevant committees, correct?
Yes.
No.
And the law states that the national intelligence you provide to Congress, quote, should be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations, correct?
Yes.
And you noted in your opening statement you're here fulfilling a statutory responsibility and that your testimony, quote, represents the IC's assessment of threats,
That's right.
correct? That opening statement, as submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing, stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
We did it.
That's right.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
We did it.
And the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
No effort to rebuild the enrichment capabilities. Just putting a little emphasis on that, she says correct.
That's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
See what happened.
Yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
and
This
he
is the
made that
worldwide. This is the
determination.
worldwide threats hearing where
False.
you present to Congress national intelligence,
Thanks,
timely,
Dwight.
objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that
False.
nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the
Here's
president
the problem.
based on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing.
Worldwide threats here.
It is a hearing on that topic. So I've seen people go, well, I don't know, maybe Tulsi's planning on running for president in 2028. Maybe as a Democrat, she's trying to keep her cred and all that. And we go, yeah, or she was trying to keep her job. And it's like, was there an imminent threat? If she goes, no, well, could she testified there wasn't an imminent threat before we bombed them the first time. And Trump's like, well, I saw other intelligence. Yeah. Okay. That the director of national intelligence hadn't seen. He's like, yeah. All right. You know, and you just go, where'd it come from? He goes, my bones. My bones. But, you know,
A little birdie told me.
yeah, a little BB birdie. But, you know, clearly she's trying to, like, be as truthful as she can, but then for the gotcha question of throw the president under the bus, she's trying to not do that. And she is wrong in that it's not, and that the intelligence department shouldn't determine if something is an imminent threat. That's kind of what they're there for. You go like, hey, Syria is up to something. I was like, oh yeah? Is it serious? I don't know. And then, you go, yeah, I told you they're up to something. It's like, why didn't you say something? It's not for me to determine how actionable the intelligence is. Like, it could be actionable, could not be. I don't know. We're supposed to pick up the big picture, but not the details. We don't do details in national intelligence. Anyway, so unfortunately, like, she put herself, I feel like I have a piece of hair between my front two teeth that's driving me nuts. I don't even know how it got there, if it's even there. It's just driving me nuts. It's in my head, Charlie.
It's an imminent threat.
It's an imminent threat to the inside of my top lip. It's just like poking it, and I go like, can everyone see a big hair sticking out of my teeth?
Yes.
See?
False.
False!
He was waiting for that.
He was. You had that queued up. He'd been watching The Office. Yeah, that was great. False! But no, so, and it is false. And she is lying. And it sucks that Tulsi has to lie like that. And, like, you know, some people are like, well, you should step down, just like Kent did. But maybe we should keep some people in there that are trying to do good things and go, well, you know, she's not stopping Trump. It's like, I mean, who's really stopping Trump? You know, is anybody stopping Trump from doing anything ever? Like, I think the idea is you try to guide. Here's what the intelligence says, but it's not ultimately gonna matter. But you might as well have somebody in there that's not a war hawk, you know? Because what if they replace her? I mean, they're gonna replace her with some senator, you know, with Tom Cotton. There's gonna be Tom Cotton in there who was just itching for war, itching to bomb Iran, you know?
Or the Graham.
Pick me.
Peg you? Oh, God, how bad would it be? He'd be the most compromised. Every day he'd be on the phone with Israel, just like, guess what I heard? You'll never believe it. And they go, yeah, what do you want for this information? Huh? Oh, just more of the same, I guess. All right.
Keep it coming.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. So, why did we go to war, Charlie?
Money.
Okay. Well, I mean, military-industrial complex has a insatiable love for
Oh, no, deeper than that.
the money laundering into politicians' pockets.
Deeper?
Okay, Lindsey Graham. Well, spit it out.
I think it's like as broad as central bank issues going up against the IRGC in a long-term way.
Okay.
Again, China with the BRICS. It's all connected in a way.
Okay. That's over my head. But how about this?
Let me take my tin hat off.
So, would you take the word of the Secretary of State right after we started going into Iran when he was asked off the cuff, why now, right? This is kind of soon after we go in, and he's going into a couple different things. And this is what Rubio says, a couple weeks ago. We'll see what the date is. Well, let's hear what old Marco has to say.
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true, because in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to.
So he goes, all right, we already know that if anybody attacked Iran, they were going to shoot missiles towards all of our bases and stuff. And then when we killed the Ayatollah, we saw that that's exactly what they did. Okay.
Launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very
Okay, and he goes, if we don't hit them before, like, say they get attacked, and it's not us that attacks them, and they respond, we're gonna get lots of casualties because we'll be blindsided, right? Okay, next.
wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And
did you hear that part? Let's go back. Yeah.
the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why.
So, what he said is they knew Israel was going to attack them. And they knew that if Israel attacked them, Iran doesn't see any difference between us and Israel for whatever crazy reason.
Wild.
I mean, they're just a lunatic group over there. They go, what? Iran or Israel, United States, all the bombs look the same to me. But anyway, so he said, Israel is going to attack Iran. We all know it. Iran's going to attack our bases. So what we have to do, preempt that Israeli attack with our own attack as we're also prepared for a response. So it sounds like, they go, hey, we're going to attack no matter what. And then we said, well, hold on. That's going to, you've got the Iron Dome over there thanks to us. But like, we've got lots of bases around. We're going to have people die because I'm sure we can't share the date and time of this attack. So what, we're just going to sit there? They go, you could join. Yeah. And they go, maybe. They go, what if we drop one of those nukes we don't have? You go, you can't drop a nuke. Don't drop a nuke. That would be horrible. You can't do that. I go, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. All right, fine. We need to move some ships. We got to move some ships. Just give us a minute. Give us a minute. And they go, I give you 45 seconds. We go, so start moving stuff. We go, all right, here we go. We're attacking. For the love of God, we're attacking. Just don't do anything stupid. And so we go in and we alert all the bases in the area, evac, lockdown, whatever it is we're doing. And then there we go. So it sounds to me like the Secretary of State, who's very pro-Israel, said that the reason it had to be now was because if we didn't, Israel was going to attack Iran, knowing that it would result in the death of lots of Americans. That's extortion. It's very casual extortion, kind of. I mean,
Casual extortion.
it's casual. It's like, well, we're not going to kill them. You go, yeah, it's going to result in death. You go, well, we can't control that. Like you control your people. We protect our people. But it is one of those like, all right, don't make me shoot the puppy. Like it's an extortion. What do you got?
Yeah. They didn't want to start it. They wanted us to start it because we would have gone in anyways, whether they had started it first or we did.
I mean, we'd have to. But yeah, and that's the thing. They go, either we go in up front, boom, boom, big bang, boom, and they're going in there, but we're all ready. Or we go, please don't do this. They do it anyway. Lots of servicemen die. Then we go in, and then they go, why didn't you go in with Israel and stop the servicemen from dying? And then you gotta go, we were hoping they wouldn't do it. We asked them not to do it. Like, but they told you they're gonna do it. Oh yeah, they told us. And you knew if they did it, servicemen would die. You're like, I mean, yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's what intelligence pointed to. Yeah, you go, So the imminent threat from Iran was that Israel was going to strike them, and in turn, Iran would strike U.S. targets due to being struck by Israel. That is the imminent threat.
So the Iranian imminent threat could actually exist or not, but it created an imminent threat from Israel to attack Iran.
It only existed due to Israeli attack. It's an if-then statement.
Yeah.
And because Israel said, we're going to execute the if, the then is the imminent threat. It's like, well, they're going to attack us. Like, how do you know they're going to attack us? Because Israel's about to attack them. But you can't say that. It's an imminent threat. Marco kind of just said it, and then I think later they came up with a better thing to say, because you didn't hear much about that. Like, talking about it last week, I don't remember hearing that, And so you go, all right. And to me, if there's a bomb with a long cartoon fuse, right?
Weird. I was just thinking about a fuse myself. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I refuse to accept that. So you got a bomb with a long fuse, right? Is the threat the bomb or the guy with the lighter at the end of the fuse? Because in this case, it seems like Iran's the bomb that can be set off if you light this fuse. And it seems like our Secretary of State said Israel told us they're going to light the fuse. So the imminent threat.
So we lit it anyways.
Yeah, so we're like, if we light it, we can run away. We can go. But if we don't run away, we can't tell everybody to run because everyone's got their back to the bomb. But if we light it and we're all looking at it, we go, hey, time to run away. We lit it. But it does make it feel like that imminent threat wasn't necessarily Iran, just in who lit the fuse, So, but it also, going back to Mr. Kent there. He said, now he thought it was just this tight inner circle that was like feeding him all this, like, listen to Israel, listen to Israel. But it might be a tight inner circle because Israel was feeding him, like, we're going to do it. We're going to attack. And he's like, don't do that. He's like, we're going to do it. And so you gotta keep it tight because you go, we can't reveal, we don't want this to leak out that Israel's about to, like, attack Iran knowing that it'll kill American troops. Like, how would that play the media? Israel's going to attack Iran even though they know it's going to result in the death of American troops who will be blindsided by Iran's response. And America has asked them not to, but they're going to do it anyway. You know, so yeah, keep the circle tight, which is going to be very pro-Israel people probably. And no one's going to tell you not to, and they're going to go, well, here are the advantages. They go, because you go, this might be it too. Figuring things out live, Charlie. Say you're in this situation. You have patted yourself on the back. You've taken out their nuclear capabilities. You've taken out much of their ballistics, you know? And you go, all right, suck on that, Iran. They kind of had a very neutered response. That was nothing. They called ahead to say, we're going to fire a bomb over here and whatever, you know? So you kind of just got away with it. You go, well, that's another feather in my cap. I can say I took out the Iran nuclear program. Beep. And, like, set them back however long, decades or something. And so you're just... And then you get a call, and Israel goes, hey, yeah, we're gonna bomb them some more because we hate them. And we think they're weak enough that we should take them out because they suck. And we go, well, hold on. We did the nuclear thing.
I hope that's how the phone call went.
That's what it is. That's exactly how it went. They go, hey, little bastards over there always funding Hezbollah, and Hezbollah's always throwing things at us. And we go, hey, stop it, Hezbollah. So we're leveling Lebanon right now. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, you saw what we did in Gaza. So yeah, that's some honest there. But anyway, we won't do that to Iran because, you know, F them. And, but then you go, why would you do that? Like, you know, that's going to cause us huge problems. People are going to die. Like, that's not what we talked about. We talked about keeping it quick. We kept it quick. That's what we talked about. That's what we agreed to. And they go, figure it out because we're going to do it on this date. And they go, and then click. And they go, all right. You start to have some meetings about it. You place a few more phone calls.
You guys, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah. They said there were a bunch of assholes over there. But you have meetings, you have some phone calls, you back channel, you do all this stuff. You're like, how do we talk them out, right? And so now you're getting closer to game time, and there is no talking out. It's like, okay, like the option at this point is you've been extorted into going on the attack. So maybe then it's about, well, let's look at the bright side of it. you go, this is the bright side. You know, China, oil, sponsor of terror, get rid of the Ayatollah. Maybe it'll topple the regime, could topple the regime. And so maybe at some point you just go, I mean, we have to do this because Israel's going to cause a massive headache if we just let them go in. So we have to go in to mitigate the disaster, and let's look at some other bright sides and come up with a story, you know? And maybe it's as simple as that. But still, it's still pressure from Israel and Israel's lobbying efforts. It just might not be deception as much as strong-arming, really. All right. Where are we at on time? Okay. Well, we don't... you know, Kent is obviously going to be... He's being investigated by the FBI. Actually, let's listen to the word on this. And I also want to look at this tool. I don't even know who this guy is. I guess it's Representative Brandon Gill from somewhere. Never heard of him. This is on Laura Ingraham.
Are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information.
And real quick, the wording. Joe Kent is under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. So he's under investigation, not that he's guilty. 3 sources tell me. Granted, they're not going to tell you the sources, but okay. All right, so 3 people said he's under investigation, which doesn't mean he is. It just means 3 people told her his investigation, and she's told that the investigation predates his departure, which also doesn't mean it predates the departure. It means she was told it predates her departure. And don't forget, they're allowed to propagandize us.
And the investigation predates his departure.
It looks like she smelled a fart.
Congressman, your reaction to that tonight.
Look at this guy.
Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that
Don't you just want to smack him right in the face? Yeah, I know that. That's one of the most smug reactions. And like now he goes, all right. It's like, this is my time to shine. I'm gonna get to go out there and like really rep Team Trump hard. Watch me throw this guy under the bus.
we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information.
Who said anything about classified? Now, like what? Now you're just adding things to it that no one has alleged.
So we'll let this play out and see where it goes. But if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would.
If he was leaking, he's going to sink in that water. Anyway, I mainly wanted to see this guy because I haven't actually made it through the clip yet because he sucks so bad. That thing in the bit. Oh.
You pause. It's just both of them right now.
I know. He farted. And he's hold on, we got to cut back. So he clearly farted, and he's trying not to smell it. Laura smells it. And she can't help but smell, but she can't react to the smell. So that's what's happening here. Or maybe Kent farted. Look at Kent. He's got his back to them. Maybe he farted. And that's what's happening. Both of them are trying to pretend that they didn't just get farted on. This is the coverage you don't get from other shows.
We're hired.
I'm just saying. This is what you can't find this on Fox News or CNN. This is big stuff. Okay, so all this is nonsense, of course. Israel's a good partner. They're a good partner, and they're not pressuring us to do anything we don't want. It's just, same team energy, and it's all good. And so Trump truthed this out. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the hole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attack, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas facility. No more attacks will be made by Israel, all caps, pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field, unless Iran unwisely decides to attack a very innocent, in this case Qatar, in which instance the United States of America, with or without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. I do not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications that it will have on the future of Iran and the world. But if Qatar's LNG is again attacked, I will not hesitate to do so. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, seems like Israel blew up more fuel infrastructure, and we didn't want them to, and they did it anyway. Yes?
I don't get it. So the South Pars gas facility was attacked by Iran.
No, by Israel.
Okay, but that's in Qatar.
No, South Pars is in Iran. It was attacked by Israel, and Iran responded by attacking the liquid natural gas facility in Qatar.
Okay.
Because I guess Iran said Qatar did it, or I think more likely they just said, oh yeah, you attack our fuel, you buy gas from Qatar, so take this.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So it seems like Israel has its own agenda separate from ours. Seems like they just kind of want to wreck the whole joint. And we're trying not to wreck the whole joint, but we're trying to do something.
With or without the help or consent of Israel. Like, we're waiting on the consent of Israel.
I mean,
I don't think we need consent. Israel's just like, yeah, that's what we were thinking.
well, I mean, there is that. There is that. But, like, yeah. I mean, it does seem sometimes like we're waiting on some consent. So, AP says the United States was informed about Israel's plan to strike the massive South Pars natural gas field, but did not take part in it. According to a person familiar with the matter, the person who was not authorized to comment publicly spoke on the condition of anonymity, would not say if the U.S. administration agreed with the Israeli decision to attack the field. And global oil prices rose.
I don't know how you're able as a country. How are we as the U.S. able to separate ourselves from an Israel attack when the munitions are probably from the United States?
Yeah.
Like, no, it wasn't us. Well, prove it.
I mean, Israel does make munitions too, but yeah, it is one of those things. I don't know. You know, apparently, it seems like Israel did do it. It seems like they told us, but I don't know. The last time we saw that they told us, and you know, maybe they told somebody. Like maybe it goes to Lindsey Graham or Mike Huckabee or somebody, and it just like go, oh, I was gonna tell you, but it took me a little bit too long, and now they've already done it. I was on my way to tell you right now, actually. Like, damn, bad luck. All right. So everyone's talking about Joe Kemp being crazy and being against the Jew and all this other stuff. Maybe he wants to be president. Maybe it's some cynical ploy to be president. You know, maybe it's. But here's the thing that. Here's the thing that they're not considering at all. What if, when he got into his job, he said, holy cow, look at all this influence that is happening. Look at us being pushed to a place we don't want to get pushed. Because I know that I've heard from people in high-ranking military positions or amongst high-ranking military persons say how surprised they are by what we allow Israel to do, how we allow them to treat us, what we allow them to demand of us, that we literally don't do it with any other nation on the globe. And, you know, that's including the Saudis, who definitely take advantage. You know, like, it seems like it doesn't seem like it's a unique revelation to be in a position of defense for the nation and go, now, what the hell is this all about? You know? But it also, you know, Netanyahu came to the United States and, like, in 2002 or whatever, and was like, y'all should invade Iraq and Syria and Iran and all them people. Like, y'all should invade them. And spoke to Congress. You know, it's public. It's not hidden. And so, like, I don't know. It's just... To act like this guy's crazy or had this huge change of heart, like, over the last couple of years, seems to be missing the last couple of years and not even willing to consider the fact that what if he saw something in his job and he said, this is more than I can deal with? What if it's as simple as that? This is more than I can deal with. You know? All right. Well, remember to like and subscribe and follow us on the Twitters and the YouTubes and the Rumbles and the Spotifys and the iTunes. And you like us. And you tell your friends and tell your friends to like us and tell your friends to subscribe to us. We're begging. This is what you do on these things. You beg. You beg. What do you got for the people, Charlie?
So the Grok fact of the day. This one's going to be good. In 1994, on March 19th, the world's largest omelet was made in Japan using a staggering 160,000 eggs.
False.
It weighed several tons and fed thousands of people.
That's all right. I wonder what was in the omelet. I don't know. I wonder if Japan makes a good omelet. But how much onion do they use? It's got to have a lot of onion. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point, Charlie?